Hey, welcome back to DieCash Cars. So every couple of years, I would say that there's always that it car when it comes to Hot Wheels collecting that everybody and their mom is out there hunting for. So going way back to the 80s and into the 90s, I know that the VW drag bus was a very hot commodity. I mean, in big part due to just the oversheer size of the car, as well as the fact that you can open it up and expose the massive motor. And then with the whole candy striper debacle, that's what really boosted up the 55 Bel Air Gasser to being one of the premier casts as we know it today. Then there's the VW Cool Combi. I feel like all collectors have a soft spot for this casting because it is a play on the VW drag bus, basically a bite-sized version of it. And there's no denying that the 83 Silverado is part of this upper echelon of Hot Wheel castings, just given its lowered stance, as well as its square body, which is highly desirable nowadays from collectors. And then there was the beginning of the JDM era within Hot Wheel collecting, the big craze, and that was initiated by the Datsun 510, no doubt, the coupe as well as the wagon. And I brought it up last year, but the new king of JDM and basically the king of Hot Wheel collecting overall has to be the Nissan Skyline R34. I mean, any release, any color, premium, basic, mainline, it doesn't matter. Everyone goes nuts for this casting anytime it's released. And just when you thought that the Nissan Skyline R34 could not be topped, could not be dethroned, well then Hot Wheels started offering Liberty Walk versions of a number of our favorite cars. So starting in 2021, we saw the Liberty Walk R35, the GTR. Then we got the Sylvia S15. There was also Liberty Works Lamborghini Huracan Coupe. And then also last year we did get the Liberty Walk version of the Kenmeri Skyline, the 2000 GTR. And this has all led to the creation of the Liberty Walk Super Silhouette Nissan Skyline R34, the ER34 as they call it. And folks, this is the current it car when it comes to the Hot Wheels collecting community, basically coming onto the scene and taking over by storm. I mean, a play on the ever popular R34. And don't get me wrong, the R34 casting is still the king, but this basically is a remix version of that casting. And man, it does not disappoint. I mean, I don't care if you're a Euro collector, an exotics, Ferrari only collector, a muscle car guy, domestics in general. If this is sitting on the pegs and you come across one, you're picking it up, no question. So let's just take a look at some of the releases of this ER34, starting with the first edition, the Mountain Drifters Premium Car Culture set, where it debuted in the actual livery of the ER34. This is how it looks like in real life, in the black and the red, all to pay homage to the 1982 Nissan Skyline R30 in the black and red, and then I guess more precisely the silhouette version, the actual race car that had the wide body flares and the big wing in the back. And that's what they did with this R34. It debuted in the 2020 Tokyo Auto Salon, and ever since it's been an icon in real life. And when it finally took diecast form, well, we know the rest, guys. But having said all that, in diecast form, having just been around for just this last 2 years, the first edition Mountain Drifter version, even in loose form, is still selling for around that $10 price point. Carded, it's around $15. Then we got the Motul Team Transport version. Right now, this is sitting on the secondary market for around $30. This year, we got the Super Silhouette in the Boulevard lineup. This is currently in that $20 to $25 range. Most recently, we got the Target exclusive 2-pack with that Silhouette R30 again. And then how can you forget the Mountain Drifters Liberty Walk ER34 Chase? Right now, prices are just astronomical. I mean, unbelievable for a 2-year-old release sitting in that $250 price point. And as you guys know, I could not wait for the Hot Wheels Mountain Drifters ER34 to release, so I went ahead and bought this from my buddy over there at Model Car Houston, from James Kim, this Inno18 ER34. And man, it's still a stunner, just like the day that I opened it, pulled it out of the box. You guys can go ahead and check out that video if you haven't seen it already. But this thing is truly a work of art. And they were one of the first to come out with this Skyline in a 1/18 scale. And I'll admit, my first choice was definitely the ignition model of this LB-ER34, but it wasn't slated to release until a year after the Mountain Drifters set was available, and I really just needed this to tide me over, so I bought the Inno18. I do not regret it. It's still a really nice piece, but in the last month here, I was able to secure yet again from Model Cars Houston and from James Kim this ER34 Web Limited from Ignition model. So let's get this bad boy open and compare the Inno18 and the Ignition model side by side. So there they are, and immediately I think the first thing you notice is that the Inno18 is definitely a lot lighter in color than the Ignition model is. But given that this was a web limited model, it does come with a 2-scale L28 motor with the ER34, and this paid homage to the R30 Super Silhouette, which also sported an L28 motor. And looking at the side profile comparison here, I think my eyes are drawn directly to the wheels of the cars. And in my video about the Inno18, I said that the wheels are very realistic. I mean, the right size diameter, the right tire lettering, it's even got the Advan tires on there accurately, whereas the Ignition model went with the more lowered stance, larger wheel diameter setup with very skinny tires, which isn't realistic to the actual car, but that is just IG model's style in general. But both of these cars are on point from a detail standpoint. I mean, all the vents, all the right angles, the wide body kit, the large spoiler, I mean, everything is correct to a T, so you really can't go wrong with either one of these brands. Showing off those classic Skyline quad tail lights in the back. I mean, both of these models again shine in that area. As far as the details goes, I mean, what you do notice is that the Ignition model does have an actual license plate, which Mr. Kato puts on the car when he does drive it around town, and based on the images and videos I see online, the guy definitely takes his car out quite a bit. And coming to the front end, you do see that license plate again on the Ignition model, along with a couple of other air vents and tubes, which the Inno18 does not have. But again, a lot cleaner setup on the Inno18 versus the IG. It's basically to a preference which one you would rather have. Another thing I did notice is that there are a few more stickers on the Ignition model, especially on those rear quarter windows versus the Inno18. So I think it really just came down to at what stage these models were developed, because as time went on, Mr. Kato definitely put a lot more stickers and details on his car versus where it was when it debuted at Tokyo Auto Salon. Last major difference I will point out between both of these models is that the panel gaps and lines are not detailed in on the Inno18. You can see them there from a 3D standpoint, but they are just not darkened in, whereas in the Ignition model, they are. You can see there is a black line on all the door panels following all of the wide body kit, which does make it a lot more defined. So again, another personal preference as to which one you would rather have. Again, if you're looking for more details, I think Ignition model definitely wins, but Inno18 isn't bad. You still get a lot of details, and I would say overall it's probably a cleaner model. And last but not least, from a value standpoint, retail price on the Inno18 was $260. And the Ignition model was at $390, so quite a difference from a retail price standpoint. But right now in the secondary market, if you see listings on eBay right now, they are both hovering in that $400 to $450 price point. So in all honesty, very comparable from a secondary market standpoint. So there you have it all together, all releases of the Nissan Skyline ER34 Super Silhouette from Liberty Walk. And guys, all I can say is I think this is the new it casting when it comes to diecast form. I mean, so much interest, so much intrigue with this, and I can't wait to see what Hot Wheels does with this cast moving forward. I mean, could they give us an opening hood version and exposing an L28 motor a lot like what Ignition model did with their exclusive web limited version? Or can we see it in a RLC release, or even better, a very limited NFT release in the future? I mean, only time will tell, but I think this casting has definitely hit the ground running, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. It'll definitely be a casting that we talk about for years to come. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on DieCash Cars.